Thank you so much for joining us for this unique virtual walk event this year. We know it's not easily done, but we've seen our supporters, you step up in a big way and join us in this new idea, and we are so grateful. Although we're not able to join in person today, we still wanted to take a moment to give you some amazing updates from one of the researchers whose work is uncovering better treatments for childhood cancer. Today we are joined by Dr. Logan Spector. Thank you so much, Logan, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Mindy.
Can you tell me a little bit about your background and your area of expertise?
Yes, so I have a PhD in epidemiology from Emory University in Atlanta, and I actually did my dissertation work on childhood acute lymphoblastic leukemia. That is what brought me to Minnesota, where every other paper seemed to be out of the University of Minnesota. It turns out that's because of CCRF and the support that CCRF's given to the university over the years. So for the last 18 years, I've been at the university researching mainly why kids get cancer in hopes that one day we'll be able to actually prevent it entirely.
Well, we are so glad you're here, and we're so grateful for our partnership with you, and definitely coming from a mom to a childhood cancer survivor. We're so grateful for the continued research and ongoing progress that is being made. The first question I'm going to ask you is if you could tell us a little bit more about some of the groundbreaking work that you've been doing and what you've seen as big steps forward in the world of childhood cancer and treatment.
Absolutely. So, my research is really more about causes than treatment, but it also kind of bleeds into outcomes. So, and from my end of things, the big advancement is just how much the cost has fallen to read a genome. And so we used to look one DNA letter at a time. Now it's feasible to look at all 3 billion letters in a person's genome. And we are doing some great things with that. I have a paper coming out in a couple weeks where we've looked at de novo mutations. That means DNA letter changes that a child has that the parents didn't give them. And it happens in every generation. And we took a look at that in osteosarcoma and found that between 2 and 5% of kids actually have a de novo mutation in the P53 gene. Why is this important? Right now, not every child is screened for P53 mutations. They're only screened if they have a family history that indicates they might have this syndrome. Well, if you have a new mutation, you're not going to have a family history. And so this is going to open up clinicians' eyes that some of their patients may have mutations but no family history. And why is that important? You want to treat these kids differently, and you will follow them up for second tumors. You will advise them about having their own kids in the future differently if you know that they're carrying a mutation. So in my small field, it's the ability to read a genome cheaply and quickly and accurately. In the realm of treatment, it's continued movement towards immunotherapy and targeted therapies. So immunotherapy is just what it sounds like, turning the body's immune system against cancer. And it's had more success in liquid tumors, the leukemias, than in solid tumors to date, but it's a major focus of therapy. And then targeted therapies means trying to treat or trying to target and kill the cancer cells without harming the child. So I liken chemotherapy that we have now to a fire hose, using a fire hose to clean a car, right? You're definitely going to get the dirt off, but you're going to strip some paint too. And we'd really like to be able to just get the dirt off.
That is music to every childhood cancer patient, parent, caregiver, because that is a very good analogy. And that's amazing work. That is really exciting. That's awesome. We're so grateful for that update. And you had mentioned about, affordable testing and research. So can you tell me about the cost of this work and why funding it is so important?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, in my field, the cost can escalate a lot for what we call a genome-wide array. So that's looking at 1 million DNA letters across the genome, and that's gonna, at the low end, be $40 a person, and go up to about 150, depending on how boutique it is. That's not counting all the labor that's involved in analyzing it. And then you can go up to a whole genome, and that can be purchased in some places for as low as $1,000, although 1,500 or 2,000 is more likely. Again,
Sure.
there's also cost and analysis. But the whole genome 20 years ago would have cost more like $100 million. So you can see that the cost has fallen a lot.
Right. And even though, every dollar is a dollar, and that's why we always talk about there is no dollar that's too small to donate to research, because those are attainable numbers. And those are numbers that we've had teams that can reach that. And I think that's really promising too. That's really exciting. My last question for you, Logan, is what gives you hope right now? What should childhood cancers families be hopeful about?
Well, a couple of years ago, the acute lymphoblastic leukemia dropped to the second leading cause of mortality from cancer in children. And that was because, there have been continued improvements in survival. So one thing to be hopeful for is the fact that survival is getting better. It's not at the same pace it was when modern pediatric oncology was founded, but it continues to improve. We also know that the prospects for survivors are getting better. So as pediatric oncology realized that cure comes at a cost, they have dialed back the chemo, they have dialed back the radiation, and it shows up. Decades later, second cancers are going down, mortality is going down. It's not that they are problem free, but the density of the problems has dissipated somewhat.
Sure. That is fantastic news, and I'm excited to continue to see the progress, just like all of our friends and family of CCRF are. Thank you so much, Dr. Spector, for your time and insight today. Thank you to those of you who have tuned in. You are incredible fundraisers, and we couldn't do what we do, and we couldn't support the work of Dr. Spector like we do without your help. So thank you all for participating and tuning in.